Hi, I'm Anthony Capozzoli with the How to Tour Italy project, and welcome to Piazza Navona on a Sunday night in May. Why are we here? We're here to showcase a couple different things. One, the piazza itself, Piazza Navona. Two, Fountain of Four Rivers by Bernini. This fountain is amazing. This really, at the end of the day, is a fountain about who you know, not necessarily what you know. Let's talk a little bit about Gian Lorenzo Bernini and what makes this fountain fantastic. First and foremost, at its core, it is the Fountain of Four Rivers. It represents four of the major rivers of the world: the Ganges, the Nile, the Danube, and the Plate. Bernini won this commission from his arch rival Bernini. Now, why does that matter? We'll get into that a little bit later. Just suffice it to say, it's like a competition between two masters. Bernini always lost. It used to drive the poor man crazy. It literally drove him to kill himself. So Bernini comes in after not being a part of the show at all till the last minute and wins the gig. Here's how it works. First and foremost, Piazza Navona. Why is this cool? This was Domitian's circus. They used to have chariot races here in the ancient times. They used to run the entire track that is Piazza Navona today. There are two fountains at either side that mark the turnaround point for the chariot races. On this side, you've got Fountain of Triton, the guy with a money back, like the kind of back I got going on right here, but it's not as nice as mine, but it's almost there. I mean, that's a little prop to my man, Vince Vaughn. On the other side, we've got Fontana del Muro. He's kind of a goofy-looking guy blowing the fountain out through the shells in his mouth. Those are the 2 points smack dab in the center of those fountains, where the chariots themselves used to turn. The Romans used to line the sides of the piazza to watch the races. The piazza, even today, takes the form of the circus. You can see this today represented not just here, but in Circus Maximus, just outside of the Palatine Hill. So skipping ahead from Domitian, we're going to go all the way to the competition that made this fountain exist. This fountain actually was created by Bernini. It should have been created by Bernini. This is a fountain representing, it's not what you know, but who you know. Bernini himself was in very, very tight with the Pamphili family. The Pamphili family was Pope Innocent X. Bernini, who arguably was a more popular, well-liked, well-connected architect, worked hand in hand with the Barberini family. What happened was this. Pope Innocent X asked Bernini to create St. Agnes and Agony, this church right here. He did so. He did a wonderful job. The Pope realized he needed to have his palace here too, and he did. So what he wanted to do was kind of create the splendor of Piazza Navona to establish his family name. But unfortunately, or rather, not surprisingly, he didn't use money from the Pamphili family. He used money from the coffers of the church itself to create Piazza Navona as we see it. Originally, this fountain didn't exist here. This was only a watering point for donkeys and horses. The open air market that used to be here was very, very much like Campo di Fiore, just across the street. You can come here, buy and sell your vegetables, your wares, your goods, so that you can live your life here in Rome. Well, Pope Pamphili said, that's not good enough for someone like me. I'm Pope Pamphili, I'm Pope Innocent X. Bernini suggested to the Pope Pamphili, Innocent X, that he needed to create a fountain for the center of this wonderful piazza to represent the family name. He had his church, they had their palace, now let's have a fountain. We had to get rid of that water trough that was here for the horses and the donkeys. They did so. I mean, he wasn't the right guy, but nobody knew it yet. Here's what I talk about when I say that this fountain itself was built by who you know, not what you know. What happened was this. At a dinner party where a prince married to the niece of the Pope said to Mr. Bernini, Gian Lorenzo Bernini, we're going to have you create a model of the fountain that you want to create here for the center of Piazza Navona. Bernini did so. At a dinner party, the prince set this model in a room where the Pope would have to leave the dinner table to walk into the antechamber to enjoy some refreshment. He saw the model on the way through it. He fell in love with it immediately. Now, this is the kind of thing that doesn't happen on every occasion, but this is the kind of thing that happens when you know someone that can put you in the right place at the right time to win the deal. That's all that happened for Bernini. The Pope saw it, fell in love with it, said, who built this? The prince said, Gian Lorenzo Bernini. The anger and the angst between Pope Pamphili, or Innocent X, and Bernini himself fell away. Bernini was awarded the commission. Bernini went to pieces. As a matter of fact, Bernini, at the end of his life, it wasn't even a national financial end of his life. He killed himself. He was so frustrated with the result of his life. Bernini always took second place, even though he did St. John and Lateran, even though he built St. Agnes and Agony for Pope Pamphili, even though he built Palazzo Pamphili, he always felt like he was in second place. The only thing I can compare that to today in our terms would be how Michael Jordan always seemed to win the title in NBA basketball, and guys like Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley, as great as they were, never won anything except, in fact, I don't even think they won NCAA titles. They always lost to the guy named Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is Bernini, and the rest of those guys are Borromini. It goes a little deeper than this. The obelisk at the top was brought here from Egypt by Caracalla himself, the Emperor Caracalla. He's most famous, or actually famous for two things. One, he killed his brother in his mother's arms right here in Rome, so he was going to be the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. Imagine that. I'm going to slay my brother, being held by my mother, so that I have complete control. Seems a little crazy to me. Well, that's the guy that brought the obelisk that's at the top of this fountain to Rome. Bernini and Borromini used to be friends, now they're enemies. So what Bernini did in this very fountain right here, in the representation of the Ganges River, he's kind of the bald guy with the weird beard that we can't quite explain, we're not sure where he's from. As he's leaning back, he's holding up his left arm, protecting his face. He's actually crying out how much he dislikes Borromini's architecture. This is Bernini's way to tell the world that he does not like what it is he's seeing. And it's this church. This is all Bernini yelling at Borromini, telling the world for eternity, he knew what he was doing, that Borromini isn't nearly as good as he is. Nile River, with the veil over it. Bernini is representing that they didn't know the original source of the Nile River. That's why it's masked and veiled, to represent the simple fact that the river does flow, but they're not sure where it starts. Borromini lost his commission because nobody liked him. They wanted to do everything they could to pull anything away from him so that he was always miserable. Why was he miserable? Because he was miserable. It's kind of one of those things. You create your own destiny, and Borromini did that. Bernini took control of his own life and always seemed to win. Bernini was the best. With that, I want to say, enjoy the Fountain of Four Rivers. I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to wrap because I'm going to drink this beer that's at the bottom of my feet. I love Rome. I love you. Enjoy the videos. Make sure you get here and enjoy the Fountain of Four Rivers.